Why would God let the coronavirus hurt people? That was a question a friend of mine asked recently, and she knew I was a person of faith, and so I know she wasn't asking to be inappropriate. She was confused, maybe even a little bit mad at God. Why would God? And I had to remind her that diseases, plagues have been around as long as humans. In many parts of the world, they go through terrible circumstances. To them, this isn't new, but in the United States, it's new. So, to her question, instead of trying to answer, why would God? I went a different direction. I took her to a place in the Bible called the Psalms. King David wrote many of these Psalms when he was going through the toughest times of his life. I found great comfort in the Psalms, and maybe you will, because when I look at a psalm like Psalms 34, King David wrote, "This poor man cried out, and God heard him and delivered him from all of his fears." That's been me many times in my life. Maybe you. Maybe you're in a place where you need to cry out. Because if you cry out, it's been my experience, you don't have to act out. You see, sometimes when we stuff our emotions inside, it makes us sick. For some people, they end up getting psychosomatic physical illness. They get incredibly painful headaches, backaches. Sometimes they get joint pain. And it's more psychologically driven, according for the National Institute of Mental Health, than it is physically driven. Other people, maybe because of hardship, like me. After I had a heart attack many years ago, I learned to journal. I learned the power of being able to cry out, to release hurt and fear and worry. How am I going to pay these medical bills? What am I going to do? I can't work. I'll never be able to do some of the things in the future with my kids, like ride a roller coaster. I learned to make the big transfer of crying out to God, and God heard him and delivered him from his fears. When I remember to do that, and it's not always, but when I remember to cry out and say, God, I can't handle this, can you help me? I feel a sense of peace inside because I'm not trying to control my life anymore. If you've ever been to a 12-step group, you know they talk about surrendering your life to the control of God as you understand God. Who's in control of your life today? Wasn't that a popular country song years ago? Jesus, take the wheel. I can't do it on my own. There's a lot of wisdom sometimes in a country song because I don't think we can handle coronavirus on our own, but we can handle our own mood. And for me, that starts in the pages of Scripture, listening to people that were living through horrible experiences, and yet they found comfort and strength in their faith. I believe that you and I can do that as well. In the best of times and the worst of times, to be able to know you don't have to hold it inside. You can cry out. You can cry out to God. You can cry out to other people. I think one of the kindest things we can do through COVID-19 is to check up on our friends, send a text message, give somebody a call, go and get a Hallmark card because you care enough to send the very best. Reach out to the people that you care about and let them know, hey, here's how we're getting through it. How are you getting through it? By expressing our needs, expressing our emotions. That's what emotionally healthy people do. It doesn't mean they don't have problems. It just means they're not carrying them by themselves. One of us is not as strong as all of us. And I believe that we will build immunity in small groups of community, close friends, family. In the midst of everything else that's happening, there are people that care about you, and you're not alone. But sometimes you do have to raise your hand and say, hey, I need a little help. I'm feeling overwhelmed. That's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being human. If you're going through this experience and you feel very alone, I want you to know we have a website, lifeworksgroup.org, lifeworksgroup.org. We've posted a lot of resources. There's a YouTube channel, LifeWorks Group, and I've created resources along with our counseling team here in Orlando because we don't want you to feel panic, to move from panic to peace of mind. And yes, some of that's spiritual, some of it's relational, reaching out in relationship. Some of that's behavioral, changing your habits. Some of it absolutely is physical, getting enough sleep. But one of the things you can do is based on emotions. Instead of stuffing it inside, being able to release that through journaling, through prayer, or being able to reach out to a friend. I hope you'll take these tips and you'll pass them along because we can get through this together. Thanks for watching.